Micah, thank you so much for being here. I saw you show up in the Skool community and you have just basically just like you weren't there and then you're there and you're everywhere. So I'm curious like how you found Skool and why you were so drawn in so quickly, at least from my perspective.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like I was on school and then kind of off, and then I came back, and that comeback was like full-fledged, or I was like,
Mm.
I'm fully in it. It started, I think I just found it as a platform when I was looking for places I could host a microdosing program that I walked clients through. And I was on it, and then I moved the program to somewhere else. And then I was like, no, school's it, school's it. And it's not really about having the platform that's like, the best for where to host something. It's like beyond that, it's even bigger than that. I think, of course, Skool has an incredible product that they've delivered as a software company, but it's to me more about the culture that was created from people that are passionate about something and want to bring that into community. Community has always been like a top value for me. So I think having an ability to have community at the center of another passion of mine was like the real kind of intrigue for me. That was the big appeal.
Mm. What is it do you think that makes community happen on Skool that is not the same as other social media platforms? Like, can you pin down what that might be?
It's really hard, but I think it starts with leadership. I think the people that are going ahead and leading the way and creating the culture, they that has a trickle down effect,
Mm.
right? Like I think because of who Sam is and because of who kind of some of the main players of Skool have been, the culture gets created around leadership, right? The culture gets created around those who are coming first and saying, this is what we're here for and this is what we're doing. And Sam has time and time again, I think, come back to this um, almost like a manifesto of like, we're here for passion, we're here for community, we're here for fun.
Mm.
And sometimes the secondary, like, uh, revenue from that is also money, but like, that's not always the core of what we're doing.
Mm.
And I think his leadership, along with other people that I think have come alongside him and really creating Skool, have made a big impact on the culture that's been created, and
Mm.
having passion be the center of things, and also being just really in tune with the people that are on this platform. Like, I don't know that I've ever been in such proximity to like the CEO and founder of a company like this. Like, it's not uncommon for Sam to message me, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this?" and like send me new updates, and for me to be able to say like, "I love this, but I think this could need some work," or whatever. Like, I've never had someone be like in a leadership position of something this like big and vast and reaching so many people, be so intunely connected to what each person is like wanting out of their experience. I think that makes a very big difference in the culture of the whole platform as a whole.
Hmm. Great answer. I would totally agree with that. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people, at least in the schoolers community, like they're drawn here, I think, to start a business or to be, finding a home for their business that already exists. So there is like a big financial component for building a
Sure.
community as well. Um, but you're right about the culture, how it is very focused on passion.
Mm.
I'm curious about your own community, the Nursepreneur Lab. How do you bring that kind of like how do you create culture within that community?
I think the same, going first. That's just something I feel really passionate about. Like, and I guess that's maybe how I could say it more concisely with like how I view Sam really bringing up the culture of Skool with him is like he's gone first, right? And that's what I try to do. I try to go first in my community. For example, I just made a video that I haven't had time to post yet inside my community because I looked after I finished recording. I looked down and I was like, oh my God, we're on an interview right now. Let me jump on. So I got on with you. But the video that I made was basically telling my community that I've had a little bit of a hard week and I had a huge emotional release this week. Like I cried more on, I can't remember what day it was, Saturday, no, Friday. I cried more on Friday than I have in probably like a decade, it felt like. And maybe that's not true, but it was like a huge, huge emotional release for me
Mm,
where I was like facing some things, going through some things. We could get into it, but it's a lot there. I think I'm going through some growing pains and allowing myself to like fully have that release is something I really needed and I haven't had in a long time. But what I did was I just made a video saying like, "Hey guys, I've had a hard week and like I cried more this week than I have in years, like a really, really, really long time. And I
mm,
really needed that. But here's some things that I'm feeling and going through. How are you guys doing this week? I want this to be a
mm,
community. I want us to feel like we can be vulnerable with each other about all of the intricacies of building not only a business, but a life. Like that is
mm,
really what we're doing here. We're not just creating, products to sell, services to sell. We're actually creating a life for ourselves and
mm,
attempting to get more in alignment with what we want that to look like. And as we do that, there are going to be challenges that get presented. And I'm going through some of those right now. And as I know, many others probably are as well. And I want us to feel like we can come into this community and be a messy version of ourselves, a funny, goofy version of ourselves, whatever version of us needs to
mm,
like show up in that moment as the most authentic version of us. Like, I want people to feel safe to do that. And I think
mm,
what's required is going first and being vulnerable first, or being goofy first, or being messy first, all of that stuff. So that's what I
mm.
attempt to do.
I'm really loving this conversation. I think for me, that authentic angle is one of the things that I find to be the most important for me in terms of my own life is like how can I show up more like myself more often, put my walls down, and a lot of that's like stepping out of my comfort zone. But then
Yeah.
to do that online is something totally different. I think like there's a whole different set of walls and the way that we present ourselves online. And I think coming from like Instagram and these other kinds of platforms where there's so much of a almost like a facade or like a we sculpt our images so carefully.
Yeah.
Um, and it's different on School.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I think that's why people are drawn to it as well, right?
Mm,
Because, Calvin talks about this concept of like social media kind of being like a me stage, whereas school is a community. It is like, it's not about any one person, it is about us, it is about the collective, it is about the group. Are there people that are leading communities? Are there people that, again, are going first? Absolutely. But the idea of creating a really powerful community, in my opinion, is kind of leveling the playing field a bit so that there is no stage, right?
mm,
That everybody feels they have a part, that everybody feels like whoever is actually going first in that community is somebody that they can trust, that is actually just like them, but maybe one step, closer to their goal or something like that. But I really do believe like community is, it's all even playing field and we're just kind of bringing each other up
mm-hmm.
alongside each other rather than like, hey, look at me and all the cool shit I'm doing. I'm like, I'm learning along the way. Let me teach you guys what I'm learning right now, right? And that's the
Yeah.
cool part. I love community centric businesses because I think it takes off also some of that pressure of like needing to be in the limelight all the time because it's not about me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That resonates with me for sure. I went to a lot of like music festivals through most of my life. Like that was a very core part of who I was, going to into the
Mm,
forest with a group of people and like building stages, and everybody
yeah.
had kind of a different role. There'd be people who were better in the kitchen, people who were better at building, people who were all kinds of different things, but there was there were people who were leaders and who were a bit ahead, but there was never a sense of like, oh, these people are unreachable. Like there was a
Yeah.
you have a respect for them, a reverence, maybe even
Mm,
like these people are really taking care of us. But I
yeah.
think that's part of it too. It's like the leader, you can have a sense that the leader is taking care.
Yeah.
Um, so in your own community, like you are helping a lot of people building their own coaching businesses. How do you pass that kind of wisdom on to them? or do you?
Yeah, I I mean, hopefully I do. Yeah, I think for me it's all about teaching people how to leverage their passion, their skills, and their knowledge into
Mm,
things that they could share with other people. And how I started my coaching practice was around microdosing, helping people integrate microdosing as a holistic alternative to things like antidepressants and anti-anxieties. Very cool work that I feel really grateful to have played a part in and still do some of that, to be honest. I had this kind of, I don't know, I had something I felt like it was placed on me from the very beginning of me even stepping into coaching, which was like helping other nurses. For some reason, as soon as I even found out like coaching was something I could do as a nurse, I was like, I will want to help other nurses do this.
mm,
Like when I figure this thing out, I'm going to pass it on to other nurses. And I think a big reason that is because I was so miserable in healthcare
mm,
and my mental health was really declining as a result of like being in super overwhelming high stress environments where
mm,
staff aren't very well taken care of, patients aren't even very well taken care of. The state of our healthcare system is just it's a disaster to be generous with the vocab. I think it's like not really where we need to be, and you could try
mm,
to change that from the inside out, or you could dismantle the entire system by showing
mm,
people a different way and teaching them how to actually create, holistic experiences for people where maybe they can avoid having to rely on the healthcare system altogether. That's not going to be the case for everybody, but the idea is to give people alternatives. So I just had this passion of like showing other nurses how they could not just use their background as a nurse because that has something to do with it, but it's certainly not everything. I think just as human beings, we have unique skills and passions and knowledge and understanding and worldviews that can be packaged up into things that help other people. And I tell people all the time, like, if you're 100 yards ahead of someone, you're going to have a really hard time breaking down all the steps that you took to get 100 yards ahead. But if you're just one step ahead,
mm,
certainly you can remember how to turn around, reach your hand back, grab someone, and be like, this is the one step I took. Come up with
mm,
me. And that's really what I want to communicate to nurses that are wanting to have a way out of healthcare and also help other people in a way that has a greater impact in the world is you have something that you are one step ahead of someone else in, right? There's something that people have to learn from you, whether that comes from your background in nursing or whether it's just your life experience or something that you used to be really passionate about that you lost touch with because you've been really focused on your career, whatever. What would it be like to get you back in touch with that and to
mm,
help other people get back in touch with like their own passions and stuff like that? So, yeah, it's just, I think, really exciting for me to not just provide nurses a way out of healthcare to help other people in their own health journeys. Sometimes they want to go into coaching around holistic health. Sometimes it's more around like mindset stuff or
mm,
a skill to teach. But I think I really believe the foundations of my business are freedom, fulfillment, impact, and fun. And I just really believe in like bringing that stuff to life. Like I really believe it's really important that everybody in the world is doing something that's fulfilling to them because I believe when people are doing something that's fulfilling for them, they're better people. Like I really do. I believe the world is a better place when people are doing stuff that they're having fun with and actually excites them. And the other thing is I think indirectly you just are going to have an impact on the world around you if you're doing something that lights you up. We're wired for it. So
mm.
that's kind of my like I don't know, my big why, I guess.
If somebody is like brand new to school or brand new to this, like they're just dipping their toes into this possibility that they could be helping other people through some type of community or online business, like what kind of advice would you give to that person?
If they're just starting out and wanting to jump into the business world, the online business world, I would say go first. Find something that you can learn and you don't have to master it. You just need to
Mm,
start, right? Like you don't have to be, again, 100 yards ahead. You just need to be one step ahead. So find something that you're really passionate about, that excites you, that you can become good at, and figure out ways that you can teach other people those same steps as you're learning them yourself. Like document it. Really take note of like everything that you're learning to expand and to take the next step and then the next one and then the next one. And as you are documenting everything that you're learning, figure out if there are ways that you could like package up some of this documentation, some of the things like the insights and the knowledge that you're getting. And the other thing I would say is like, never, ever, ever do something that you think will be like monetarily successful if it's not something you're like really stoked on.
Mm,
Because at the end of the day, you could do something that blows up, right? It's like massive, it's extraordinary, it's like crushing it in the online business world. And if it doesn't bring you any fulfillment and joy, you will burn out doing that just as you would in any other career path. And so much of the reason, so much of my big why for going into online business with my background as a nurse is because I was so burnt out. I was so burnt out in healthcare. And I would be just as burnt out doing online business if I weren't doing something that I was like super stoked on because it's also hard. Like
yeah.
it's a different kind of hard than like being a nurse in a hospital setting, like for sure wildly different, but it's still really fucking hard sometimes. And if you're not doing something that lights you up, you will burn out doing this just as you would in any other career path.
So good. Um, Whoever's listening to this, if you're just getting started, take those words seriously. Uh, the last question I want to ask you is, what are you excited about in terms of school and maybe your own business as well?
I'm really excited about just continuing to build communities, like not just online, but bringing people together in person. And that's a big, big part of why I want to do this too. My partner and I, secondary to my business, we run a queer community for just wholesome connections outside of the bar scene. A lot of queer folks, I feel like they can't really connect with other queer people outside of like going to the clubs or going to bars. And sometimes that's not always like what I want to do. Most of the time, it's not what I want to do. So, and same for my fiance. And so we sat around. We were like, man, we really want community that's like a little bit different than just like being at the bar or the club with these folks. And so we're like, what would that look like? And then we're like, yeah, let's just create it, let's just create the community that we're looking for. And so we created an online platform on Skool called Belong. I think right now it's like number 2 in relationships, which is really
Mm,
sick. And what's cool about that is like it is an online platform, but we have done so many in-person events with Belong and we'll continue to do more. I think in 2026 we want to do our first ever like queer retreat for the folks of Belong. And that's where I see it going. I see not only in my business, but in like, just different passions that I have for community like that. I see this going into more in person spaces where we just make really authentic connections with each other out of a either shared value or shared goal. Like with business, a lot of times it's a shared goal, but with our queer community, it's really just like wanting genuine human connections with people that get it. And I think that's what everyone's looking for. I mean, we're as human beings, we're wired for tribe, we're wired to like be connected and to keep each other. I think is part of like keeping each other safe too. Like
mm,
if you think about it, you're way more in danger as an individual that's like left the cave to go out hunting than you were
mm.
if you like leave with a group of people. And I think we are wired to kind of know that we are better together and we also like can't really go through life alone. And I think I'm also maybe impartial to this because I do a lot of work in the mental health space. I really believe isolation is a huge part of the mental health epidemic. And so a part of my big why is like just helping people get reconnected to themselves through community and not be so isolated in the world. And I think in turn to be more joyful and fulfilled and having fun and all the stuff I was talking about before.
Micah, thanks so much for this conversation. Truly, you're doing really amazing stuff, and I appreciate it. So thanks.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on. This was fun.